All right, there we go.
That's jokes.
Swiss bread.
You know what? I don't need this on here because we don't have anybody remote.
No,
do we?
Nope.
All right, let me do this. Hey, Cam fam.
Greetings, Cam fam.
Pretty boy Dave T here with the most of the members of Wahuru.
What?
I am going to take off this.
1, 2. It's also
Does
here.
that,
Two
does that work?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're right.
67%.
All right, we still good? Okay. All right. So we are here at our usual time for Evermore with EverLore, but since we don't have everyone here today, we're actually just going to talk some behind the scenes information about EverLore. We're going to do some concepting, so you guys will get to see sort of how we put our brains together and come up with some of the stuff that we give to you. But just to give you guys some information, this is about the role-playing game EverLore. EverLore is a new game. It's part of our boundless gaming system, and that is a game that has lots of diversity and customization, and it is not limited by classes or levels.
Not at all.
Yep, you guys can learn a lot about EverLore on social media at EverLoreGame. You can check out our 2 official streams. One is at twitch.tv/EverLoreGame. That is this stream, Evermore with EverLore, and it airs every Thursday at 6:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. Through 9. And then the other one is Essence of EverLore, and that is at twitch.tv/Essence of EverLore, and that airs at 6:45 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last thing, you guys can also check out our website, which is ManChildLTD.com. All right.
Well said.
All right. So, with that in mind, let's just start, doing some brainstorming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first off,
Hit me
I
with
want
it.
to say, so at character creation, you obviously pick the height of your character, which for halflings is like around 3 foot, which makes them a small creature. So technically, they should get a +4 to stealth. And we never talked about that, so neither of us have that on our sheets.
With the size modifier, would you guys also take a -2 strength for that?
Yes, you get a -1 strength and a +2 agility. But we had talked about that.
I'll buy that strength.
But we had talked about that. At least we had. So technically,
say that again.
So we never got the +4 stealth for being small creatures. So we should get that.
What do you mean you never got it?
We never talked about it. Like in character creation, you never told us that.
We put down the stats that we got, unless it's in.
We just put that for the halfling stuff.
But it's already in the halfling stuff.
Is it?
I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
No, I looked.
I mean, either way, you guys
He
already
came to me about
have
this, so
insane
it's all him.
stuff.
No,
And I
it's
rolled
not
a
that
5, which the lower half of the D12 means no.
It's not that
All
hard.
right, so so look at it in the beta because you guys did it from the beta book. So all right, while you're looking at that, anybody have any ideas on proficiency?
then to get rid of the draw thing, the draw minus for archers.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what's a proficiency that we can do that will start to get rid of that? And so what do you mean the draw minus?
So
Because Cam Fan might not
okay,
understand.
so for whenever they draw an arrow or a pellet, you take a -1, not a -1, but that costs out of your APR. So instead of a 3 APR action, then it's 4 because you have to draw.
Because it costs 1 to
Yeah.
reach back and draw it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's detrimental because it counts up.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Apparently it was there. I just did not see it on my readout.
Oh, is that
That's on me.
right?
That's
Huh,
on me.
that's
on
so
me.
weird.
Yes. All right,
Almost had
okay,
double
I got
halfling
you.
stuff.
I got you.
On
It's
top
still-
of
I'm
your
still gonna get a
already
+4 with my
insane
item.
50.
Just saying.
Yeah, yes, you will. Okay, so I like that idea, but what's the proficiency that we can build that out of? 'Cause I don't want to just drop it.
Ready weapon?
Well, we already have ready weapon.
Yeah, I know, but like a second ready weapon 2 kind of like instead of ready weapon like ready.
What if it's like quick draw?
Or you
you
can
have
just-
to have ready
Or you
weapon
could just
together.
attach it to ready weapon 2.
Yeah.
where there's just a
Well,
part.
no, I mean
with-
we're
No.
coming up with new.
No, I like
proficiencies,
Anthony's
so-
idea.
Yeah.
So
You can call it quick draw,
Quick
and
draw.
then you can have the requirement be you have to have ready weapon as a requirement proficiency.
yeah,
ready weapon bow.
Well, I like it, only I don't want to do quick draw because that's used in another game system. So
I mean,
Ladder.
it's also like just a thing like quick draw, like it's a
that's
phrase.
true.
it
That's
just
true.
makes sense. It's
Yeah.
just-
Okay. So
I mean, if you want, we can call it something else, but like I don't.
no,
think
because
it-
you're right. I mean, quick draw is like quick draw artists, so
Yeah,
guns
it's
and all
not-
that stuff.
yeah.
So, okay. So now,
So it'd be like whatever weapon familiarity 2 is, or whatever.
all right, and so with quick draw,
Oh, I think it would require weapon familiarity, bow, and ready weapon 1.
Yeah, and then like maybe some level of speed or agility. Well,
Yeah,
I
with
don't think you
the-
use the You don't use core the personas as like proficiency requirements, do you?
You can.
you typically
Usually there's one and
use
then
traits.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah, typically you
aptitudes,
use a
right?
trace
traits and
investment.
aptitudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Usually.
I'd say probably either agility or speed. And
Well,
maybe
those are personas though. Typically you do it
Those
from.
are traits. Yeah.
Yeah, I said agility or
traits, yeah.
speed. Probably maybe speed.
Well, what we're
Oh.
saying is you would do it from an aptitude, something like performance or prowess.
No, because on most proficiencies that require things, it
Having
requires.
essentials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it requires like.
No, you're right.
For
Both.
offhand, it's learning 8, agility 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has,
Okay, so it can take.
So it would
I
be.
would
They usually have
Okay.
an aptitude and a trait.
So we could do.
Okay, so we could do either.
I'd put
both.
prowess.
Yeah.
I would do prowess and speed.
Prowess and speed.
I
yeah.
wouldn't say prowess
Why?
because with like quick draw, it's not about how strong your arm is. It's about how quickly you can take your hand from wherever you're drawing your ammunition
Prowess
and
isn't
then
how
loading
strong
it
you can
on.
do it.
Because remember, at the archery, it's like when you're firing, it requires you strength to pull back. But if you're just trying to pick up an arrow off the ground and load it in, you have to be quick about it.
But prowess isn't just strength. Prowess is what I use for lockpicking and stuff. It's just a
No,
technical-
protean is used for lockpicking.
That is correct.
Then protean, not prowess.
Actually,
Yeah.
I would think it would be survival.
Really?
Because I mean, that's what you're doing. You're surviving,
Okay.
and how quickly you do that determines how well you survive.
But like, if you
Yeah, but
cast
I-
a spell that, keeps you and your entire party alive, is that not also survival? So could I use survival as a
Fair
magic or aptitude?
Say that again.
So if I cast a spell that keeps me and my party alive, like a healing spell, could I use survival as a magic aptitude then?
No, because we only have set magic aptitudes.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah,
Well,
but
he's
like,
just saying that you could interlock that as a magical
Well, no,
aptitude.
no,
You can say that for
I know what
anything.
you're saying. I mean,
yeah,
and this is still up in the air.
yeah.
I just think survival would be good, and you guys think
Well,
Protean?
I think something like
either way,
I think something like
don't
Protean
Halflings have
or
a good one.
we
Or
don't
good
have performance
archery
anymore, huh? What did performance go into?
prowess
What?
or protean.
No,
I don't know.
intimidation goes into
Performance
prowess.
went into persuasion.
Okay.
Then I would-
So,
I think,
I think
it would either be
survival-
survival or protean.
I think survival is a candidate, but I think Protean would be better because survival relates more to like dealing with situations where it's like you have to have some like wherewithal about you, whereas I feel like Protean is being able to adapt by like dealing with multiple things at once or like handling a situation that you may not be totally comfortable with, just like in your body. So I feel like Protean would be better suited.
all right.
Fair point.
I'm outvoted.
I like podium.
All right. So
So I would do something like speed
So-
4, protean 10.
Well, what tier
I mean,
is it? It'd be
I'll
what
figure
tier?
that out.
You would have to look at like
Yeah,
the
so-
other proficiencies,
yeah,
but that's something
we'll
we can
figure
do
out
off
that.
stream.
So
Yeah, that's
is
separate.
the idea that because I think this is something that I would still want to tier up, so you don't just get it once and then you're good permanently.
Okay, so you would
So I
want
would-
it for specific weapons?
No. I would
Oh.
think that you would do this and it would get rid of it maybe like the first you get it, it gets rid of it for like one turn
I don't like
or
that.
something like that.
My thing is, if you're a proficient archer enough to where you can negate that, why would it
just
only
want
be
it
that
one and
once?
done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
I feel
it
like
can,
that's
it,
also
can,
weird.
it can be one and done, but then we can make it like a harder to get proficiency. Like maybe you could make it Ready Weapon 2 requirement instead of Ready Weapon 1.
I think it's also weird because that implies that it's something like you're turning on, when it's more of just like a natural
reaction.
You're
I like
faster
that,
with
so
your draw thing.
It's a one and done, but harder to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably like
Okay.
tier 3. You have to have Ready Weapon 2 and probably Weapon Familiarity
good.
Bow.
Okay, so
yeah,
it
Familiarity 2.
it removes the
I don't know how you're gonna word
one
it.
APR cost
That was the wording.
of drawing an arrow.
So
Okay.
only an archer of renown could get it.
We'll see. Okay, another
I wonder,
proficiency.
So,
I wonder if we know any
Or
of
quirk
those.
or anything like that.
I had an idea for a proficiency. I was thinking melee combat could be made a lot more interesting. Or do you want ones I've already brought up to you, or?
I mean, if you got something that we haven't really talked about, let's do it.
Okay. Well, I'll bring this idea up to you guys and see how you feel about it. Certain proficiencies that are based around certain weapons. So, like, let's say one for a spear. Let's say you could increase the distance around you where somebody has to, use a tactical advance in order to negate a fortunate strike against you.
Okay, say that again.
So, like, if you're using a spear specifically, you can get a proficiency that will let you, when using spears, increase the attack range around you, and people would have to roll tactical advance when they're further out from you in order to not get hit by a fortunate strike. And that would be a proficiency that you can use with spears, but only when you're using spears.
I don't like that because a tactical advance is just your movement, right? And so all of the creatures have at least a 30-foot movement.
Yeah.
So unless you're able to lunge your spear past 30 feet.
I don't disagree with that. I don't necessarily. I think that's more technical. Technically, it shouldn't work. But I think gameplay-wise, it would add that extra diversity that we don't have. We wouldn't just release them one at a time. We would have to create one for every individual weapon. So then people aren't picking a spear just because of that.
Yeah,
But
you can set them up so that way different weapons have
having
different
that
weapons.
variety in the weapons that you choose.
Well, I think I straddle the fence on this one. Sort of.
This is just a specific idea I gave out, but the overarching one is specific proficiencies that only work with a certain kind or shape of weapon.
Well, no. My thought is this: it sort of tags on what Caleb was saying. It's like the tactical events. When you use tactical events, you're not tactically advancing technically. Okay, in the reality of it, yes, you can run up to them and then slow down at the last 10 feet and go in. But that's not how we play it in game. You do that whole movement as a tactical advance.
Yeah.
So that's a 30-foot movement as a tactical advance. In order for that spear, item, or whatever to work, that's saying that 60 feet away, they have to start that tactical advance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I got you. And
so,
that would be kind of far.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think so what can we do to
I don't know.
make something like that work?
I don't know.
I mean, my main idea is just to play around how people who fight with spears are usually going to take advantage of the fact that they have range on you, and that was
60 feet
something
is
that
crazy.
you could take more advantage of if you're proficient with spears.
Well, I think that in game, because they, I think you could just say that you're farther away from them. Because if you think about it, if I have a spear, I can reach, a foot or more, further than someone with a sword or something else.
Oh, you would be able to reach a lot further.
Yeah,
with a spear
so
than a
you
sword,
could just say
You have a further
that
range.
I am
They got further than melee
that
range.
far away. With tail, that's a 10-foot radius. So you could just say like,
So
I don't know
you
how
can
to say
hit someone further away.
Yeah.
basically.
So
Well, with
If you
melee
have
instead
that
of range.
proficiency with spears.
so then let's say that it gives you a 20-foot range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
So it's extending your lethality.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're threatening people in a 20-foot
Yeah.
radius
Yep.
versus just a 10-foot
I also
radius.
think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps with like trying to make it so ranged characters can't just
Step away.
fully stay away from melee characters, at least not as easily.
You're forgetting how ranged our range is.
Well, yes, I'm
Yeah.
aware that it's still.
What he's-
like,
he's just
So he's
300
just
feet.
saying, like, if you're playing somebody who
But if
has
you
like
get
just
close
a
at all-
regular slingshot, and like
Yeah.
you're just like kiting somebody
Slingshot
because
still
you're
has, like,
faster
a
than them,
60-foot range.
Yeah.
so you can hit somebody, but they can't get to you.
Yeah, but if you
you're
get
able
close
to
at
like
all, then
negate that distance a little better.
Okay. So I like that. And so that would be a spear proficiency.
Mhm.
All right.
But I think before we add that, we'd have to make up one for every other weapon.
Yeah.
Unless you don't
I
want
mean,
that.
not every other weapon. You could do ones for
I
like
think-
different kinds of weapons.
I think
like,
that this should be a more than one part proficiency. Because I think at first it should be at a minus. Because if you think about it, when you're first starting off, it would be harder to effectively attack with it fully like gone when you're holding. Because you'd have to hold it like at the end. It would be so much harder to get all that force behind it, as if you were holding it fully like as you normally would and lunging within 10 feet of somebody.
Mhm.
So I'd say maybe 2 parts, and it starts off at like, I don't know how much damage spears do, but like a small minus to
Or just like a
their
minus.
damage.
So how about not necessarily a minus, but maybe it starts out, it gives you the ability to threaten, but it doesn't add anything. And then when you increase it, it adds because you enhanced your ability.
so when you're taking advantage of your range on other people, you would get a bonus to that versus when they're like in your sweet spot.
No. Well, I guess yes.
It's not a subtraction from your center. It's just naturally
So,
you're
like-
better when they're further.
Like initially you have the 20-foot range, but you're not getting a bonus. And then after the 20-foot range, you get like a +1.
Yeah, once you get better at fighting,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
you're more
I like
lethal
that, that's good.
at that range.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then
Alright.
it's not that you're worse closer up. It's just you're better.
You're
further
better.
out.
Oh no, you would
Yeah.
effectively
Yeah.
be worse closer up.
Well,
because
you're
you've become
Just
better.
because
Yeah.
you're better farther
Yeah.
away.
by
but still.
comparison, but
Okay.
like you as a character aren't worse fighting closer up.
Yes.
So maybe +1 to hit and damage then on that second part
Yeah.
of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Which
Alright.
any fighter would be glad to take +1 to hit and damage, and if they're using a spear, then that would be cool for them.
At that range part, yeah.
Yep. And then you
Now-
could have
Especially from that far away. That's,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I like that.
which
Okay. All right. So then I'll do.
are we clear to move on to the next thing?
Yeah,
Are we-
yeah.
Okay.
were
So
you gonna ask me something, or is that
no, I'm
Go for it.
cool. I was thinking, or like, we've talked a bit, but like a way for melee characters to effectively get rid of their connection to magic in order to make them stronger with melee. Because if you think like some people aren't gonna want to cast magic at all, so it makes sense to give them a way to just not be able to do that at all, but then be better at what they're focusing on.
So
is that
I
not?
think you reword that a little bit. So they're not getting rid of their connection to magic. They're getting rid of their connection to spells.
Yes, their ability to cast magic.
Yes, to cast spells.
Is that not a like thing we have with the quirks where it's like you can take a massive negative quirk to get monster strength
Well,
and
yeah.
decisive or something?
But that's just. I feel like there should be a way for everybody to be able to do that. Because right now, that's just a negative quirk. And so that's just so like you can take something else so that you can. Yeah.
But you're thinking of a way to build a character
Yeah.
Yeah. To build a character.
for
with,
sake spells.
Yes. Without having to get rid of their core entirely.
But if we do something like this, then that's one of those things that you can't go back on.
Yeah, no, I think that they would fully lose any spells forever.
That's a tall order.
I think it'd probably
it depends
be
on
like
what the buff is, though.
Yeah, I mean that we can work into it. Yeah, I mean, and that's if somebody decides to do that, they can do it because it's EverLore.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I think that now this might be strange, but like the way that it would function is it's kind of like magic, but you can't. But the core never leaves your body, so you effectively basically just cast like buffing spells to yourself all of the time.
So you're not really forsaking spells?
No, you are. It's just like I say buffing spells because like it's like if you got rid of your ability to cast magic, but you got like bear strength just all of the time.
I
don't think it'd be
like that
weak,
bonus
but,
is
like,
gonna be. Yeah, because I feel like that have to be a.
It'd definitely be stronger than bear strength, but like
Because this is probably like a super high tier proficiency,
Well,
or
no,
like it builds up or something.
I'm thinking that there would have to be multiple. I'm thinking that this is a concept
Yeah.
that has like 50 to 100 proficiencies underneath it that builds into something. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking it chips away, you know, and so there'll be various routes to go with this. So it's not just one proficiency that you do this and then suddenly, boom, you're there.
What if like it made it so instead of casting a spell, it's like doing an ability, like how Nicarvin has like the pulse or like the terrify. It's like that, except you just use your MAPR to like get angry, and then you gain +6 strength for bear strength, or like,
yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
so, but what I'm thinking is like, what's the like spell forsaken, or you know, what's the underlying thing that this is under?
what if you,
You know,
would a character?
that these sort of fall underneath. You know,
So it's like
because-
a filter that once you get this proficiency, it lets you goes into the rest.
yeah, and you can take it in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
What
everybody
if it lets you take like some kind of magic aptitude or stat, or sorry, wait, it's aptitudes, and then what are the ones for the personas?
traits.
Yeah, sorry, I keep wanting to say stats for that. What if it lets you take like a magic trait or aptitude, and instead you can add it to the calculation of some kind of other role that would be built more for physical characters?
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's what we can do. All of those. I mean,
I'm
so-
saying, what if it doesn't let you access that magic, but instead lets you add it to another kind of role, and that would be what gets the ball rolling down to those other proficiencies.
would something like surrender spells
Surrender spells. I like the name of that.
or
how about sunder?
sunder?
I mean, because that's like cutting. You know,
I think surrender spell sounds nice. Sunder would be like
I think sunder sounds
a
cooler,
different.
though.
It does sound cool, which is why I'm thinking it would be better for a different proficiency or
I
even
think
a spell
Sunder would
itself.
just be the ultimate thing. Like you, because my thing is there's so many magical things. So I think you'd start off with sacrificing your spell dominance, or like you would get a minus,
well, no. Okay, hold on a sec. Go on, keep going.
or like you would lose your spell cost allotment or your learn spell, like gradually, not like all at once, but you would lose -5 for a +2, and then it would build up to you lose. Because I don't want to sacrifice core, because that's like everybody has that, but you lose all of your MAPR, but you get +8.
You get your MAPR in your APR eventually. Like stuff like that, like where, like things that would help you magically now help you physically.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's that, because here's the thing. I think what you're doing, because like you said, you're basically internalizing the spell. So it's still MAPR. It's just not an outward show of a spell.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And what I wouldn't want to do is suddenly have you be like uber beastly, and have like 50 APR. So because you're still doing something different than just a physical attack or something like that. You're using your core in a different way.
Yeah.
So I would probably say you still have MAPR. I would definitely leave the core.
What if you don't have any spell dominance? Because that's how you force spells onto others.
Wait, so your idea is that they can't cast spells, but it's an internalization of the spell.
Yeah, so I'm thinking is instead of you don't have spell dominance, I'm thinking you, like you were saying, you use, like, you build like things, your traits and stuff like that into different things. So I'm thinking you use your spell dominance to go into things. So like you can add 2 points of your spell dominance into your attack. Or, you know what I'm saying? And then, so we use the stats that we already have, you know what I'm saying? And you just shift them around because you still have the same stats. You're just using them different than other people do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, so I'm thinking that way we don't have to create a new character sheet. You know what I'm saying? And then they don't have a wasted thing on their character sheet. Because if we just say you don't have spell dominance, then we're saying will becomes unimportant. Wits, becomes less important, and things like that. And so we still want all of that stuff to be important.
Yeah.
And so if we can just say it all shifts, because your spell cost allotment then becomes how many of these internal abilities can you use?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Instead of just getting rid of them, like your magic things would just go to different things. Like maybe you can take some of your magic resistance and instead it goes to your investment.
No. I mean, your magic resistance will still be magic resistance.
Yeah.
Because you still have to fight against.
You still have to fight
spells.
against magic. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because magic resistance isn't your ability to cast spells.
Yeah.
It's your ability to
Fight
defend
off
spells. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anything, some of your spell dominance might go to enhance your magic resistance.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's how this would work. You're giving up your ability to harm others with spells by
And
augmenting
strengthening yourself with spells.
Okay, and would that actually subtract from your spell dominance?
Yeah.
I mean, it could, but that's what I'm saying. We'd have to figure out the different proficiencies.
What if
I
it?
got you then. Yeah. And then
What
you
if
could
it
just
ultimately
subtract from
works
it in your
like
enhancement.
Caliph's ability? Caliph, before he died from foolishness, had the ability to give up vitality in order to give others vestment. What if it kind of worked like that? You can give up your spell dominance in order to allocate it other places on your character sheet.
Okay, so hold on a second. Because that could be one of the proficiencies. Okay, so allocation. And what were you saying? Give a portion of SD to other areas. Okay. So something. Well, okay. So if you're going along the spell surrender or spell sender line, or if you're, whatever, there's going to be a whole host of these things. But basically, they all inhibit you from casting spells.
Yes.
So even once you start down that line, you're no longer casting spells. So maybe the first couple, it just takes from your spell dominance, but doesn't prohibit you from casting.
Yeah,
spells.
I think that the first few would like minus X to SD, plus X to MAB or RAB or whatever. And then eventually, and there'd probably be like something you have to do like in game, like uh some like ritual or something in order to cut yourself off from being able to do that.
Sort of like how you have to have it prepped up in order to get a spirit patron.
Yeah. Like you don't just like, oh, well, nah, I don't do spells. Like you have to I don't know.
I
Get
think
to the actual sunder part.
Yes.
I think the bad thing about this, I was just thinking, is if you start off with a crazy spell dominance. So I think there needs to be a point where it's just you lose it. Like you have 4 proficiencies where it subtracts maybe a total like 15, right? And then it cuts off. Because if you have a spell dominance of like 40, then that's crazy.
Well, no,
Well, I mean, you're
because
putting
that's
things-
40 from places you can't have other places. Like
Yeah.
you have to have wasted EP going into that, which now isn't in your MAB or vestment. That you basically you're just
Yeah.
moving your EP from one place to another.
Yeah.
So it's effectively the same thing.
Instead of just sourcing it into things fighters would normally, you are forsaking being able to cast spells in order to gain abilities that, well, mages would typically use, and instead you are just buffing yourself with that strength, and you might be getting a little more, might be getting a less out of it, but it just depends on how you build your character. But like you're just doing it a different way than typical fighters.
Yeah, and there'd be no real benefit to doing that because let's say right now that I wanted to get my willpower up in order, or not willpower, affinity up in order to get my spell dominance up. Well, instead of doing that, I could get my strength up to get my MD up, or my agility to get my vestment up. So that's something that you have to not do in order to get that up, which doesn't make sense because you're trying to put that there anyways.
Okay, so considering sort of like the spell, sunder, surrender, whatever we're calling it, line.
Spell sundered.
Sundered.
Yeah, because sunder is to split something apart.
You like the sunder?
So effectively, you're split apart from spells.
Okay. All right. So let's just say like tier 1. One could be something like you can lose 1 point of SD to add to
Any
do we want to tell them what it can add to, or just say
Yeah, I feel like you can't just put anything because then they could add it to like alchemy or something. Like any
Okay.
To any attacking.
No, because then that's only attack rolls.
Well,
You
yeah.
could say you could add it to any calculation that requires a phys trait. Agility, speed, or strength.
No, but then that's aptitude still. It's like you add it to something.
all right, so to any calculations for game essential rolls or attacks and damage rolls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that way it's hitting
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And
All
plus,
right.
that means
Oh,
ranged
you
characters
could
could
make
use
your-
it as well.
You could just make your RM so high.
Your rate
You
of
could-
movement.
You could just be so
You could
fast.
make your APR super high.
It would have no benefit, but you would be.
You could do it.
You could break the sound barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm doing that.
To add to any
Holy crap.
What?
Just read this last part of Link's Souls.
Hey,
What is up?
and then
It's not that much.
you must
Why, though?
notify the LM of his choice.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense because you can't just change it.
Yeah.
So with Link's Souls, that's a 20% increase to your character's lifespan, not your vitality, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would say vitality. Also, that'd
Oh
be
yeah,
busted.
Yeah.
Well, even still, 20%.
Lifespan doesn't
Bro.
really affect your character.
Sure
Yeah.
it does.
Okay, unless you're
I mean,
playing multiple 100 years of in-game.
I mean,
It doesn't
might
matter.
be, though.
You could.
Depends if there's
Well, I
time
mean-
skips and stuff.
I mean, think about it. We have multiple characters in ours who
Not
want
to
go
mention,
immortal.
Baylock is like a few years from being immortal. Vondra's
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
So
Vondra,
will it affect your
half
lifespan?
dwarf.
Yes, because you want to be immortal.
half dwarf, half dragon, so he can live what 6-7 centuries.
Yeah, but look,
And
I
plus,
can only be like
regardless of it,
110, okay?
No,
so
you
it's a
can-
lot
Well,
for
I mean,
me.
plus,
Halflings
regardless.
can be like 200 years old.
Yeah, 200 years old compared to what, 700?
Yeah, so yeah, that's
Or-
what
Yeah,
Well, I
forever.
mean, you would also, live to 240 instead of 200, but it would make you look
is
younger the
not much.
older you are.
So
That's
hey,
true. If you're elderly, you could be like middle aged.
Um,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Essentially that.
so we have that for the SD. Do we want to do one similar to the spell cost allotment?
I
Yeah.
think the spell cost allotment would just be fuel for the spell abilities your character would have.
Yeah.
Well, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is we're giving them options, so they can
Yeah.
decide on how they want to do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What do you
this.
mean?
So okay, in the tiers, all right.
No. What do you mean? Do it to like the spell cost allotment?
So
Like,
they
subtract
can,
from
so
spell
lose
cost
1 point of spell
allotment.
cost allotment to place, anywhere you want. So they can decide if they want to lose a point of spell cost allotment or
Oh,
if they
we
want to
could
lose a spell dominance.
make it like specific. Like spell dominance goes to attack and damage rolls, and spell cost allotment would go to game essential rolls.
Well, I was thinking we'd get more specific as we go up the tier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I feel like
You would up the ante.
it's just kind of like instead of having like my spell dominance is 20, my spell cost allotment is 17. So instead of giving me 37 things to put anywhere in these two, give me 17 to put into game essential rolls and 20 to put in attack and damage rolls.
Or just give you your option because we're all about customization.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
like
guess that's
maybe
fair.
you don't want the bear strength ability. You just want more to hit. And we can let our players do that.
Yeah. Okay, so and then the other one is lose 1 point of SCA. All right. So then
Ooh, or I feel like we should probably do it for
Oh
learn
wait,
spell
were we not?
allotment too.
What
This
was
is
the
gonna be
last
a
one if it
really
wasn't
long
SCA?
thing.
learn spell allotment.
Yeah,
Oh.
because you don't really need that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we could do learn spell allotment all day long.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn those spells I can't use. I know what Earthen Wall is. I'll tell you that much.
So then we'll do LSA instead of SCA.
Yeah, I think that works.
What if
Alright.
we let them cast Earthen Wall and instead of it being a spell, it's literally just they stomp the ground so hard it creates a wall in front of them.
Okay, say that again.
Oh, I was thinking about that.
So you know how we're talking about bear strength and static armor and that kind of thing as abilities. What if we let people who are going this route do Earthen Wall, and instead of casting a spell, we flavor it as they stomp the ground and then they're just so strong
it
that Earth
becomes
comes
a
up.
physical thing. What am I thinking of? Like some of the things that shoot stuff that uses spell dominance. What if it could become a physical thing that would then use RAB instead?
Well, those two different things though.
Yes,
So-
yes. These are two different instances.
So let's talk about his first. I like it. The only thing My only thing with that is
Mm-hmm.
that's limited because, well, I guess not.
I think
My thought was this: situationally, that would be great. You're right,
Mm-hmm.
because you could use that if they're in an enclosed space. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that we could.
Because
make
I'm just
these,
saying, like, if we're
techniques-
limiting it to, like, things that they can use as abilities on themselves as a fighter, I feel like Earth and Wall would be an interesting one to add to that because it's, it's something we use as a party a lot, and I feel like it's something that a fighter, in EverLore could do if they decide to enhance their body.
I mean, we'd have to change it up because I don't want it to just be Earth and Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea is we're not just swapping a spell for a spell.
Yeah.
So it would have to be changed because otherwise there's no point.
Yeah, because I
Yep.
think that
You
this
know.
is kind of.
But I like the concept.
I think this
Yeah.
is more like a martial art. So I think that these could be like techniques that people would learn.
I have a question. With reserve strikes, it says if you hold your attack for the first round, you gain +1 to attack and damage against the same opponent each additional round. So that means if I hold once for one attack or one round, then that means if it's round 50, I'd have a 50 plus. for
No.
both. Or is it just that one?
It's just you get that
Okay.
one.
The way it's
for
worded
every-
makes it sound like it's every. 'Cause it's what it
Maybe I
says.
shouldn't have said each additional.
Yeah.
It's just
each round you
Yeah.
hold. No,
Each
I feel like
additional
that makes-
round held.
Yeah, if you hold it for 50 rounds, you
Then
get
you
plus
have-
50.
Yeah. But because the way it just words, it's
Mm.
like you get a bonus every single
no.
round.
I was just thinking
Oh, wait.
for every round that you're fighting, you get that +1.
Which are we talking about?
Gotcha.
What? Reserve strike.
Oh, because, yeah, Caliph had reserved strike, but I was just thinking you wait one round and then you get +1 to hit.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
do.
it. That's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you
But I
don't-
guess with the way it was worded, it could have sounded like then
get a
the
plus
next
one
round you get +2, and then the
Yeah.
round you get +3, and that's
Yeah.
what it wasn't intended. So Caleb, your idea. Well, how would we shift yours first?
I was just thinking it would be phrased like if there's, something like earth or stone malleable below them, they could like stomp and it would lift up the ground above them, creating like a sort of wall directly in front of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but we need to change that in a way. How would we change that?
Change what? Run it
That-
back. Run it back. I missed it.
Oh, so basically I'm saying like you can give like the people who are forsaking magic a kind of like earthen wall, sort of like how we want to give them, something like bear strength or, not spell for spell, but like just something similar that they can use as an ability to boost themselves from temporarily acting similarly into place to spells,
I
but
don't
not
like
just
that.
swapping spell for spell.
Because then it's a cop out. If you're getting rid of spells, why would you get something that's just like the spell?
Well,
Know what I'm
no,
saying?
because you aren't swapping it out for something that's just a spell. The idea is that you're so strong because you've learned this martial art of forsaking magic that you're able to stomp the
I
ground
disagree with that.
How
and
about
like
It's using your body.
Your physical strength, but I feel like that would be something different. Because the way he's tying it in makes it seem like you're sacrificing your ability to cast spells so that you can cast spells without casting spells.
No. It's because you've given up spells, you are now strong enough to do things that are magic like simply because you're so
yeah.
Yeah, but
strong. Like
but if you just get unearthly
Obscenely
strong while
strong.
keeping spells, then why can't you do that? Let's say we have the same exact damage or same exact strength, but he can create a wall and I can't. Or if I'm stronger than him and he can create a wall, then that's a cop out because that's just a spell at that point.
fair.
So I feel like if we were to do something like that where it's physical spells, then that would have to be a different thing entirely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So maybe like, what do you say? Like, could they do like an earth spike?
I mean, yeah, we could do whatever we want, but I don't think
Is
that
stone spike
you get
not a
that
spell?
because you're sacrificing the spell.
Oh, stone spike is a spell.
Yeah.
So no, they couldn't. All right. Okay.
No, Marty. It's not because it's a spell.
They
It's
don't- I'm
because
saying-
they're giving up basically, if we did it connected to this, they'd be giving up spells to do spells.
Yeah, I know.
But
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
so
What I'm saying is
we
that
could do
in-
something like that, just not connected to this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
My core
was
idea
connected
was
to this.
basically like, from what I was understanding, you could trade in magic stats for physical stats, and you could trade in the ability to cast spells to instead perform physical strengths or like physical feats that you would consider abilities. Like how golems have slam, where they can spend 2 of their APR to hit the ground so hard that it shatters or like it shakes through the ground and hits somebody far away.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, but that's it. I just feel like, as a player who's not going to do that, it seems like they're getting a bonus because they're losing their abilities to cast spells in order to get stronger physically, so then they can cast spells.
Well, it's
Or
not spells,
but I feel like it would just have to be that one.
they're gaining a separate
They
set of abilities.
There could
So,
only be that one, and
hey,
it could because they're strong. It's just that's a perk that they get from something.
Pocket Dimension asks, "Are we changing the sheet?" I missed the first few minutes. No, we're not changing the sheet. We're just spending time concepting different things, and so right now we're talking about some proficiencies.
Yep.
And no, we're not talking about health insurance.
The idea is we're coming up with different proficiencies. Caleb had a brilliant idea for a proficiency or a line of proficiencies where the idea is you are a physical fighter and you are forsaking the ability to cast spells to instead gain strength from your missing ability to cast spells. So the idea would be like you can subtract 1 from your spell dominance to add +2 to any, one number under the calculations for attack and damage rules section, or calculations for game essential rules calculations. That kind of idea. And so what we're talking about now is how physical fighters, I believe, should gain something, similar to Earthen Wall, where like they can kick into the ground or like stomp and it can like raise in front of them, and maybe it would send somebody flying, maybe it would create a small barrier, that kind of deal. And Davey is saying that wouldn't be fair because normal fighters won't be able to get that kind of ability, but they may not also be built for spells, so by forsaking spells they're getting spells. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, my thing is, if it's just gonna be one ability, then yeah, that's cool. But don't make it because they're so physically strong. Because then, if I'm physically stronger than you, but you're getting something because you're physically strong, then
the
that
idea
doesn't work.
isn't necessarily that it's like just because they're stronger. It's because their body is processing magic and core in a different way than fighters or spellcasters would typically.
It's effectively, I think, because they've trained their bodies to use core in this way, they can do things that are physically impossible because they are effectively a spell. Like they,
I think
that.
I think
part of it though,
is
we have to be careful. I think what we should do is keep it internal to them.
Yeah.
Not a spell. They are like, it's like an enchanted item.
What?
Like they're making themselves an enchanted item.
No.
So those can have abilities.
I have an idea then, right? What if we keep like giving up the spell stuff to just an increase in stats, and instead we can make physical abilities like that. They're just proficiencies. And then what you can do is you can subtract from things like your SD, your SEA, your LCA, and you can put those into like requirements in order to get abilities like those, so you would get them quicker than the typical fizzing.
Well, no. So what I'm saying is let's continue thinking about like this line.
Mm-hmm.
I like that though.
But as far as this line, let's have it stay internal. Because the idea is that
it's all internal magic.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're giving up the spells, which affects the outward. Otherwise, why give up the spells? Because the spells are what affects the outward. And so if we're saying you can give up your ability to affect the outward to affect the outward, that sort of defeats this.
Yeah.
So I think like with this, what we could do is, we could say like things like it gives you more power, like in your punches, they do different things, and stuff like that. But that's based on your physical body, versus creating like an earth wall or those type of things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even, like be averse to them being able to punch through a solid wall.
Mm-hmm.
I
was thinking
at a
that was
higher tier.
I was thinking that was just going to be a proficiency you could get if you did magic and were a fighter instead of forsaking magic. But I feel you.
Say that again.
I remember you were talking about when I was describing Caliph how there would be like proficiencies that marry the idea of a physical fighter with somebody who casts spells. The idea being like there would be one where you can punch through walls because you're combining your physical ability with that of your magic.
Well, that's what this is. You're combining. You're just internalizing it.
Yeah, but what if Nicarvin wants to attack through a wall, but she doesn't want to give up magic?
Then she can't.
Or she just has a spell for that.
Yeah.
If she can create a spell that can allow her to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or she could be physically strong enough, and that would come under the LM.
Oh, just physically strong enough to hack through the wall?
Yeah, technically, if your stats are high enough, you could do anything. Up to your LM's discretion.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your body can take it.
Yeah.
If he wanted to say that a speed of 10 allows you to go Mach 5, then Baylock could run at Mach 5. But,
a giant can kick through a wall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because it's a giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't, Manitoba couldn't, but a giant could. You know what I'm saying? So, so there are things like that. But, this will allow you to do those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the use of a spell.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
And I guess that's the great part of having a lore master is that you can kind of say, this is something I want to do. How can I work with you to get to that?
Yeah. All right. So where do we want to take this,
What's
spell
the top?
standard? What do you, when you guys envision, what can you do with this?
Like the final thing?
No,
or
big things. What are you thinking? Because that'll help us figure out, what do we do in the intro?
Well, I was
I'm thinking
of...
basically, I don't know.
There was a
Can I
separate
mention-
thing
sorry,
that
my
we've
bad.
talked about.
Yeah, but let's
That, I feel like that could be very well tied into this.
the shock food thing.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that roll into this?
I don't know if it would be directly connected to this or whatever, but basically, you use your core instead of molding it by using a spell. You just do sheer force through your hand or your weapon or whatever, allowing you to do your weapon damage at a range.
So you're adding. So okay.
He's saying that your body becomes magic. So then you can do feats that aren't physically possible, but magically it's possible. But you just couldn't catch. But then that's another problem. Is
That's
those
what you were
are
talking
just
about at
spells.
first. It's a spell.
No.
Well, no. I get what you're saying. There's spells without spell dominance and stuff. So it's like I'm gonna hit you with a sword from over here, and you're gonna take damage physically because it's magic. That doesn't work.
No, just do Vespin.
That's you're not understanding what I'm saying. You're going to take physical damage from a magical thing.
Yeah.
That is a spell.
No.
Yes, that's not going to work.
I think
kind of is a spell, but not really.
I think I could see something like that. Only if it was unarmed.
Yeah, because I feel like, because I don't want to do range, because then what are you going to do against that?
Well, no,
You just use
I could
Vespin.
see that, but I could see that its range is in a 30-foot range.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because, I know that, in our world, something that, is they say that there are some monks that can do things without physically touching you, Whether or not I believe that, I really don't. But because they have chi and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and that's sort of what this is like. They have attuned themselves so much to their body that they can do something like that.
Uh-huh.
So I would think as long as it's unarmed, but that would have to be like high tiers.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I have another idea for a high tier one.
Why would it have to be unarmed?
Because
you're not imbuing your weapon, you're imbuing your body.
Because then that's basically just enchanting a weapon.
Which is back to magic.
Because I like the just body because you've trained the core in your body to not do what core should do. You're allowing it to give you physical abilities. So you're basically magically buffing yourself with your own core.
Which is why I'm thinking
you can't magically buff. You shouldn't be allowed to magically buff your weapon through your body because you trained your core to go through your body into something else. I don't think that works.
Okay, hold on.
Unless it's a specific
But
thing.
I mean,
hold on. So, I think, how about this? The only way you can do it otherwise is if you create a special bond with a weapon.
Yeah. Like with
a single weapon.
Which would be another weapon familiarity thing.
Yeah, but it'd be beyond that. I mean, this weapon would be like a part of you.
Yes.
You know how we have like animal familiars?
Yeah.
This weapon would be like bonded to you.
Huh.
Would
you still be able to
Calandriel?
Yeah.
You can do it with that.
Would you still be able to
have to be like, I don't know if you'd be able to do it with Calandriel, because that's like a sentient being.
But that's what I'm saying. But in essence, you and this weapon would become one.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's
I see it.
And that's the only way I would.
Which I would like. I think it would just be like a biological weapon. Like it would be a physical weapon, but there's something biological in it because that would just make more sense storytelling wise. Like
it would have to be grown.
Yeah. Like there's a magical way to do it.
I also like that.
You have to have a weapon grown specifically for you.
Yeah. And then you can't just pick up a weapon from the street and then be like,
and OJ Drummer says, he thinks that it should have a longer reach. Okay, so hold on. I like all of that. How are we doing this? So.
Well, these are all completely different things.
I know. They're just like, So, okay. 2 have a special. Okay. So it can project your damage beyond the physical range.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the range are we thinking?
I'd say like max 30 feet. Or 40 feet. Because I don't want it to be like a range.
52 feet.
No. 40 feet. Because like I don't want it to be so... Because like it's better than the spear thing. But it's not... It's ranged. It's not a ranged weapon. You know what I mean? Because I feel like past 40 feet is like far. 40 feet is far. Or 30 feet is far. But like that's more realistic. Because you have a spear that's doing 20 feet.
OG Drummer thinks about like 60 feet, like a breath weapon.
Yeah, but
I think that's fair.
That's far. A breath weapon is a freaking breath weapon. I feel like that if you can just do something like, I punch you as far as his breath weapon's gonna go. I feel like then it's not taking away from the breath weapon because they do different things. I just feel like that's kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, but this isn't nearly right now. This is 6,000 EP.
So
let's say you have a 6,000 brawler against a freaking
So
Conjure, not like
wait,
fighting each other.
explain this to
Well,
me
like,
real quick.
I don't
How
think
is this happening? Are you like
It's
just
just
throwing
a-
your weapon,
No, it's
or
just a physical thing.
You're
Like, you just take
thrusting
damage.
your weapon or your arm, and you're forcing damage onto somebody from that far away.
And would it be
would it be
interrupted?
like the impact with your weapon
What do you
that
mean?
deals
do you
this
mean?
damage?
Could it be interrupted?
So like if I have a long sword,
like let's say if I
that's
shoot
like,
a bow,
let's say
and
at
someone
most
runs
it's
into it,
2
that would hit that
meters
person,
long.
right?
You know, that would be about
Like the
6
person that
feet,
runs into
6 foot, right?
And then since this
How
is
is
a different
this
thing
weapon dealing that damage
that's
from
magical,
60
would it
feet
just
away?
hit
10
him, or
times
would
as
it hit the
It's
interrupting
just
party?
magic.
Because like
So,
with his
for our
caliber,
idea,
like-
he
like
could,
not
he could
forsaking
magic.
add a
But,
block,
like-
so he could help block that thing. Would it then transfer to the person interrupting it,
It
or would it go
doesn't
straight
work.
to?
I feel like
If you try and think of it logically, but like
I would think probably not.
because you're
it doesn't get
I think
interrupted.
it would
effectively
work
you're
out.
enchanting
Because
yourself
I don't
to be
think it
able
would
to
get
do
interrupted
something
anyway.
magical.
But if it does,
Like you're making
'Cause
yourself a magic
I
item,
imagine it was like
Yeah.
and it's
shockwave.
kind of like your ability.
It's you just
It's
boom, and then
not
there's a
physically
wave.
possible,
Yeah.
but it's
targeting
still
that
a thing
person.
that happens.
I
Okay.
kind of see what you're saying.
What are you guys thinking?
Oh, I'm just asking like how it makes sense that like
It
if you
doesn't.
have a 6 foot like long sword, how you are going to deal damage with it from an enemy who's 60 feet away.
I just imagine like a shockwave. It's just a
If it's yeah,
I
okay.
feel like it'd be flavored however you and your element
I mean,
are cool with.
No, I understand it would be flavored like that. I'm just thinking like from a mechanical standpoint.
well, the mechanics don't work. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be like a wave coming off of the weapon.
Yep. Okay.
You know,
I just
aim
wanted
straight.
to. Yep.
And again, this is only a weapon that is grown for you. So you have to have all the proficiencies to get to the grown.
So you would
you
have.
have to have the story
Mhm.
arc to get to the grown weapon.
So
you know,
then, in that case, I'm curious. Would this still have to be a part of the proficiency line where you forsake magic?
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
like this is
Yeah.
this is a non-proficiency thing that you have to do in order to get this proficiency.
Yeah.
Like we'll say, in order to unlock this extra range, you have to have a grown weapon that you have linked with.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how that's gonna work because then we have to create like some type of thing.
Just leave it. They could deal with it.
For now, anyway.
But like, do you want to have a proficiency where you can create grown weapons, or does it have to be?
No.
I
So
think that
like
would
a
just be-
player could never grow its own weapon.
A
It would
player
have
can't
to
just
I can
consciously
create-
grow a
I
weapon.
can
Yeah,
No,
create-
that's not what I'm saying. I'm
I
saying
can create a weapon and then like enchant it, or not even enchant it, just like use it and then like repair it to the point that I've grown with it.
that's not what I'm
No,
saying.
that's
It's
not
a
it.
physical.
No, it is
grown
of
weapon.
you.
It is a biological
this
weapon.
is a biological weapon that it's marrying the physical with an inanimate object.
So, like, am I
basically
gonna
just
take
an
my
arm.
toenail and then like just like attach it to a stick and say
well,
this
you're
is
not
my
going to do
biological
it.
weapon?
So
But no.
it's-
What I'm saying
I mean,
is,
so this is some high. No,
No, it is.
even if you're the most proficient blacksmith, you can never grow a weapon.
Some people
because like
grow
I-
extra limbs. It's kind of like that.
it's not going to be proficient.
Picture
that we
it's a
write in
sword
right now,
tumor.
yeah,
because we have to write in a bunch of other stuff
yeah.
and build it to the lore.
So it's
This would be
a weapon
like
tumor.
high tier shaman stuff. Warlocks, could do stuff like this. But I mean, it's not just your average everyday person just going to sit down.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So you have to
Um,
have somebody magic do it for you, even though you forsake magic.
Yes.
But yeah, because it's magic. It's growing a weapon.
Okay. Ah,
I mean, just because you've forsaken magic from yourself doesn't mean you can't use magic to get ahead through other people.
And like, what
You're
is
just thinking it's like werewolf claws.
Kind of.
what are we gonna do with core though?
What do you mean?
Like, would they just stop and like spinning stuff on core? Would you just have
No,
like,
it
core
just
No.
goes into their normal thing.
Because what I'm thinking is like as they're getting the different proficiencies, core will go into different things. Like you'll be able to add X number of points from core to your boom. So add 2 points of core to your MD, things like that.
But is
And
it?
so
I have in my mind that you're subtracting from your stats. You're not. You can't subtract the core, or are you? Because
I would subtract them, and like I adjusted. I'm thinking we just subtract from your spell dominance and your
Spellcast belonging or no?
your LSA.
yeah.
And the rest you can take from. So you're not subtracting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because your spell dominance you don't really use. But since you are subtracting, you might want to still build into them so you can have more to subtract from.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your learn spell allotment, again.
Then I would do like a percentage type thing instead of just a base, because then, let's say the max you're gonna get is 8.
Yeah.
Then
so
you just have an 8.
confusing.
Okay, what?
So like, there would be no. Okay, let's say you get for the top thing, it would be transfer 10 points of core into whatever. Then you would just max out your core to 10 and never worry about it, which is cool.
No, because you can get from your spell dominance.
But yeah, but
And the
let's say
higher
your
spell
spell
dominance
dominance
is, the more of that you
the
can
max 30 from that. Like there's going to be a max unless we do a percentage, but then percentage is confusing.
Why would there be a max?
take. You can just keep getting the same proficiency over and over again.
You can't get the same proficiency twice.
Yes, you can. You can get what's it called? Or you can read literacy. That gives you, I believe,
but
6
that's-
languages that you can read and write. There.
Yeah, but that's only because there are multiple languages to.
Yeah, so you can just do that. If
read.
you have more than, let's say we only have enough written out to where you can get 30, like spell dominance off. Just get one of the other ones again, and you can take X more.
Oh, I mean, that's not a worry. Weapon familiarity to purchase multiple times.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
get
but
that
weapon
one. That's a different
familiarity
weapon.
is work. Weapon familiarity is purchased multiple times, but that's purchased on
different weapons.
different weapons. So that's different than I don't get weapon familiarity sword.
And
Weapon
then
familiarity sword. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So you don't get it multiple times for the same exact thing.
Plus, if you just get a plus 30, and then you just buy it again, get another plus. 30.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
All right. So
you still have the 30 spell dominance to use.
But if you've already got it once, then what's stopping you from getting it again besides the EP? Then you'd have to be at plus 60, and then plus 90,
Well, yeah,
and
but
then
you
plus
still-
120.
what are you guys talking about?
No,
He is saying that you could just rebuy proficiencies. I'm saying no, because so let's just get like a base thing that gives you like a plus 1. You could just keep buying that, then you'd get multiple plus 1s. That's not how that works.
That is correct. So if you for the first one lose 1 spell dominance to add. So if that's lose 1, you can only get that once.
Yeah.
You can't lose 1.
but then what
10
happens if you
different
run
times.
out? Because then
Well, then you would have to get more, or just not get the proficiency.
no, not run out of spell dominance. Run out of proficiencies.
Then you're out
You
of
just wait until
proficiencies.
we make more.
Or you can talk
You know
with
what
your.
I'm saying?
You
So
can
that's-
also
yeah.
like.
Because I've
feel
got
like
all of the
that's-
martial line,
Well,
and that's out.
Yeah.
You can also talk with your LM and then say, "Hey,
That's
I
correct.
want to subtract more from my spell dominance. Is there anything that we could work out?"
Yeah. Because like,
Because like I've been
if
talking
you're out
to
of
Dave.
proficiencies, then you're out of proficiencies. You've run that line. You've ended the course.
Here's the thing. That's why we're going to do the work to make sure that we have enough.
Yeah.
We're going to put
And
in
if
a
we
lot.
don't, then we'll just
You know what I'm
make
saying?
more.
Like literally, even when we run out, like there may just not be a proficiency for what you want. I've been talking to Dave about how for Nicaragua, I want a proficiency where after I land an attack on somebody, I'll be able to like physically pull them a direction with a grapple or something.
There you go.
Yep. All right. So,
Which that's another thing. I wanted to talk about physical and like touch attack grappling stuff, and like making that like a style of combat people could use.
okay.
Yeah, so like part of my idea was like just what you were saying, like after you attack somebody, maybe you can like throw or move them 10 feet off like a touch attack roll or something. or maybe it could just be like a once around thing, or whatever that kind of idea may be. And that would just be like a physical thing.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The idea is like in combat, let's say you roll MAB and you get better than somebody's vestment, so you get the hit on them. I'm thinking for a proficiency, like once around or something, after you land that hit, you can choose to throw somebody 10 feet or so by like hooking your weapon into them and then like, either angling and like knocking them that way. Maybe you just like land an axe into them and you can like throw them that kind of way or something like that.
Okay. So
the idea is that like I want to use touch attack more for like things in combat.
But that's not a touch attack.
Is it not?
No. I mean, if you're hitting with your weapon, that's MAB.
Or well, okay, but like you could make that something that you build for like a touch attack based build as opposed to other type of physical fighters.
He's saying that but then your weapon have to get stuck in him. So if you were to cut into him, then you can do something with it.
Yeah, if you got something like Grappler that like increases your touch attack, you would be able to do something like that.
Okay, hold on.
But then you'd be grappling through his
again?
sword.
So the idea is, right, you hit somebody and then you can pull them 10 feet. The idea is that you would be able to get those if you had proficiencies that had to do with touch attack, like, wrestling, grapple, or that kind of thing.
But that's not a physical thing, because if I'm hitting you with the sword comes back and then I pull you. That's not how that works.
Yeah,
it
but
have to be like a hook or something.
And plus that's not touch attack.
I'm just saying, like, because, and that can be, something. I'm just saying, like, including touch attack and fighting, like, maybe that was a bad idea. That was just specific.
I like what you're saying, because I was thinking, like, when you said it, I was thinking of calling it something like battle nudge.
Yeah.
Because it would start out, you wouldn't be able to throw them first. You'd maybe shove them back with your weapon.
Yeah.
And then the next tier would be maybe the throw.
Mm-hmm.
But since you're using the weapon, it's MAB, and it's not touch attack.
Right. I'm just saying, like, a kind of grappler.
But that's where it falls apart, because you're using the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do grappler,
I mean, I'm saying, like, you can still use weapons, like, you can catch somebody's arm in, like, a half sort of kind of thing.
But that's not weapon. That's what I'm saying. If you're catching their arm, you're not using your weapon.
So it's either you're using your hands or you're not using your hands.
Yeah.
Okay, so touch attack is just entirely, grabbing. You can't, like, hold them with a weapon or something.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, because when you're using your weapon, you're attacking someone.
Well, what he's saying is, like, let's say if I hold my sword to your neck, then is that grappling, or is that? I feel like that would be grappling, because you're not using the weapon for its intended purposes, which would be stab or strike. You're holding with it, but that's a different circumstance.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you're doing that, you're not using MAB. You're only using touch attack. And the problem with that is it's not going to reach their vestment.
Right.
So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Unless you're going to, it would put you in a vulnerable position, because what you're saying is that you're in a situation where people are swinging with a weapon, and instead of swinging back, you're going to maneuver yourself in a situation, and maybe we can do it. You're going to move yourself in a situation where you're not going to use your weapon to hit them. You're going to try to lock them so that you're giving up your MAB and you're using touch attack versus their impulse.
Well, like, I had a couple different ideas for this. Like, something that would go down this line would be like disarm, where like you would be able to use your weapon to knock a weapon out of somebody's hand.
Okay.
But then again, that's not touch attack. So
well,
this
like,
would be something different.
It would still be
related to that line, though. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then, like, another idea I had would be like where you literally just replace an MAB attack with a touch attack versus their impulse, and then the idea is like you grab them so that way you can get an attack with a single-handed weapon.
But then wouldn't you
hold
just
on.
grab them
Hold on.
normally?
Yeah, so hold on. So disarm, touch attack versus their impulse.
I just feel like disarm would just be a regular like, oh, I hit your sword out of your hand
Yeah.
with my sword.
I
Well,
see
no,
what
but
you're saying.
that's what it is. You're targeting the sword. It doesn't do any damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then would that be a touch attack though?
Well, yes, because you're using your weapon in a way that it's not trying to harm them.
Yeah.
You're
just
trying
move it.
to.
But
not-
couldn't you harm the sword? Couldn't you attempt to break the sword?
That would be something different. That would be like blade breaking and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so battle nudge. So and Uriah said our OG drummer says knocking a bunch of enemies away.
It would kind of be like that. How like Dragonkin have like tail swipe where they can use it and
Oh.
then knock enemies away. That would be something you could do down that line.
Say that again.
You know how like Dragonkin they have tail swipe where they can hit multiple
You mean
enemies. and
dragon
knock them-
spawn?
Dragon spawn.
Yeah,
My bad.
remember
Dragon
the
spawn.
terminology. So what now?
Because they're the spawn of dragons, yeah.
Yeah.
So like they have tail swipe where that's just a natural attack they have. They can turn, hit multiple enemies in front of them, and then knock them back. The idea of battle nudge is that you can hit an enemy and then knock them away from you with that.
But we have to be careful with that because for the tail, that's MAB,
Right.
and if you're looking at battle nudge, that's MAB.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being MAB and it can be more like accessible for fighters, but then there would be more in the grappler line where it's like you can straight up replace an attack, and instead of using MAB versus vestment, it would be touch attack versus impulse for you to get like a one-handed weapon in, because the idea is you're grabbing your opponent and then making them vulnerable to an attack because you grab them so they have a free spot to attack.
Okay, but that's two different attacks.
That's what I'm saying. The proficiency merges both of those movements into one, and it could be like used once a round or something.
So he's saying that you just the proficiency allows you to grab and attack. But with that you'd have to have then would you okay. Do you get a minus for
So,
using
hold
your
on.
non-dominant hand?
First, hold on. First,
No.
with the
Why?
disarm, Mika
That's
asks,
fine.
does a person get a fortune strike
It'd be hard
if
to
you
grab
use
you like
disarm?
that, than to grab you like that.
I would think
Disarm's gonna be
not.
stronger.
Because you're proficient in disarm.
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean,
yeah, but
and
that's not
unless you
necessarily
run
what
in,
those are.
you're still engaging.
Always.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're in combat, right, and you
What-
try to
what would
disarm
touch attack
somebody
be?
and
Well,
you
I mean, in
fail,
this
then
situation,
they
it's
just
different.
successfully defended
How?
it. But like,
'Cause
if you
it's
disarm
not
them,
just grapple.
it's not like
It
you're
is grappling.
necessarily
It's grappling
making
them and then
yourself
attacking them with your
vulnerable.
dominant hand.
You're just not attacking, which means they
Well,
get
yeah,
another
but-
chance to attack you while you're just
It's
trying to
not
disarm.
harder for me.
And
to
OG
do
Drummer
this
says,
than
can you
it
use a
is.
disarm
No,
as a
that's
fortune
not
strike?
You would be.
I would imagine
okay,
so.
unless your
Yeah.
arms are the same strength.
Okay. All right.
Most people's arms are. They're just
So-
not as.
And that would be a pretty
You
brilliant
don't
fortune
control
strike
this
to
one
use
as
against
well.
enemies who are brainwashed by cursed
But it's
weapons.
still-
So what's the
about just
grappler
as
thing
strong.
you were talking about?
So it's not that hard-
The grappler.
hard
Oh,
to
so the
grab you
idea
there,
is like
grab you
once
there.
around
It's
or
not-
something, you would
Yeah,
be able
alright,
to
alright,
replace.
alright.
out of that.
Guys,
you
hold on.
have this one.
No, you couldn't.
Yes, I scared.
They're talking about like a negative for like trying to block with an offhand. Basically, what I'm saying is like, let's say you're a fighter and you have a free hand, or you're unarmed entirely. What I'm saying is, for once a round, you would be able to take one attack, and you would be able to replace the MAB versus vestment calculation with a touch attack versus impulse calculation. And if you successfully roll, you get to do the damage as long as you have a free hand after you grapple with one.
So what he's saying is you do damage on a touch attack,
Yeah.
which I don't. I like what you're going for, where it's a touch attack and a regular attack, but I don't like how it negates the damage, the investment, because then let's say there's an enemy that none of us can hit, right?
Mhm.
but we can grapple. I just keep grappling you, and I just keep attacking you, and that negates your vestment, which is what you've built into.
I mean, that's the idea. Maybe you have some like big, heavily armored enemy, but then you can just grab them by the leg and then knock them on the ground.
But that's not what you're saying. You're saying you attack them, and you're hitting the armor, but it just doesn't go through
Yeah,
the
because
armor.
what you're doing is you're doing two things at once.
Uh-huh.
So, how is it? Okay, with the grapple part of that,
Mm-hmm.
you're grabbing them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it just might be by the arm, you know. Maybe you get a good grab around the
Maybe
leg,
body
you know,
armor.
some piece of their
Yeah,
armor,
body
something to
armor.
pull them towards you to create an opening for a free attack, basically.
So then, what I would do instead of that is, I would say then it would give you a bonus to hitting.
Instead of just like the straight up
Yeah.
grab equals attack.
Yeah, because again,
Because then you're just negating.
because yeah, I mean, just because you grab them doesn't mean they're just going to stop and be prone.
Right.
Which is what you're saying in essence.
Mhm.
That you grab them and then, oh, okay, I can't do anything, stab me.
I mean, I guess the idea is that like if your grapple is successful, you've got them to quickly like make the strike on the opening before you go back to neutral, and maybe you can keep the grab while they're fighting it. That kind of thing.
I can see it because, like, let's say I'm fighting someone. They grab my arm and pull me like this. There's not much I can do to guard against them slashing me. Because I can't, I don't have anything on this side
And
of
on
me
your
other
turn,
than just.
yeah.
But then you would,
And on your
That's
turn,
why- and
then
that's
you
why I
would
give
lose
you
the
a
agility
bonus.
and speed.
That's why I give
But
you
you're
a
not.
bonus to
There's
hitting
still
them.
armor there.
Well,
Like,
yes,
the armor just
obviously.
isn't disappearing.
No. It's still against vestment.
No, it wasn't. That's what
No,
he's
that's
saying.
what he was saying.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
what I'm
against
saying.
He's
no
saying
vestment.
you didn't
Oh,
get
no,
a
that
free
doesn't
hit.
make sense.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
That was all of them. Dang.
You know,
No,
so-
because there's still armor and just your base vestment.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to really get around those.
I mean, the only way that would work is it would negate the agility and speed.
Yeah, I can see it negating the agility
And then it's
and
just
maybe
armor.
a shield. But other than that, you still have the base and like the armor and enhancement to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so how about something like maybe calling it like grappler strike or something like that.
Mhm.
You grab an opponent using touch attack versus impulse check. If that's successful,
Ooh,
then you
forced
get a.
opening.
Oh, I like that forced opening.
Mhm.
I like that better. All right, so
That's kind of hard. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard.
so grab an opponent using touch attack versus impulse check, and then you gain +5 to hit on the next attack against that opponent.
Mhm.
You like that?
As long as you're still holding the grab. Because there might be a chance you use it at the bottom and you don't have enough APR afterwards, so like you have them grabbed. But
Okay, I
like
like that.
yeah. Just so that way if you get disconnected, you don't still get the +5.
+5 is crazy.
Well, I mean, but you
it's-
put them in a
No,
wrong
I get what
position.
you're
Yeah.
saying. I get what you're saying. But that's
Plus, if you're fighting somebody with a high impulse, you're just not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. You all right?
A little bit. What if after battle nudge, it was battle bully, and then that's the one where like if you land a hit on somebody, you can throw them.
Okay, so battle nudge would be
Battle nudge would just be like you have the option to like push somebody.
so using your weapon. So if you it's still an MAB versus
It's still an MAB versus vestment, yes.
okay. MAB versus vestment, and so you give up a little bit of your damage,
Yeah, I would say -3 to damage.
lose 3 points of damage.
Yep. And then instead you get to push an enemy away from you.
Push an enemy 3 feet, 10 feet away.
Yep.
Okay.
And that would work because that itself kind of builds into my idea of like you should be able to like, get proficiencies that'll give you different attacks that do different things, like maybe +4 to hit with -2 to damage, or +4 to damage with -2 to hit, that kind of thing. And then you can like opt in for different ones.
Okay. So and then battle bully would be using your weapon versus LMV versus vestment. You can now turn that hit into like a flip or something.
Yeah, the idea is like you would be able to hit and then you can still throw them backwards, but you would be able to do it to the side, you would be able to throw them behind you, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe the last one would be like Battle Beast, where it's like after you throw somebody, they go prone.
Well, okay, so hold on a second. I don't.
Uh.
What's the difference between? So what's bully again?
So Battle Bully is just you hit them and then you can move them, and essentially you're like manipulating where somebody is in a fight. Whereas Battle Beast would be you hit them and then you throw them like with not like actually picking up and throwing, but like your weapon lodges into them, or like you manage to get a good strike on them, and then you're pushing them so hard that they fall over and they have to get APR to stand back up. And it might just be like a 1 or something, but like
Well, no, but I
you get
mean,
against an enemy who's prone.
but I think bully sounds more effective because when then you're putting them in a worse situation potentially.
Then do you want to do would you want to do Battle Nudge, Battle Beast, and then Battle Bully?
I mean, no, we can. I like the word beast at the end. I just think that beast should be something maybe a little bit better.
Okay, I got you.
So just switch the two things. Have Battle Beast be what Battle Bully is.
Or no, I mean,
Well,
because I'm. Here's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Because I think with the bully, they should end up prone as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
You
So
know,
you're thinking
but
Battle
I'm
Nudge
thinking-
is like basic, you can subtract damage and then you can push an enemy away from you backwards.
Yes.
With Battle Bully, you can do the same thing, but you can throw them any direction and there's a chance they'll go prone.
Yes.
Then with Battle Beast, we would want it to be like insane. Or not insane, but like better. And I never really thought of what would go after that.
I think.
Did you hear what we were talking about, Caleb? I can catch you up to speed.
No.
So the idea is we have like a just line of proficiencies that go after one another. Battle Nudge is essentially you -3 to your damage, but you can like push an enemy back 10 feet away from you, backwards from where they're facing. Battle Bully is when if you get a successful hit on an enemy, and we didn't say if it was minus the damage or anything yet, we'll talk about it after, but what you gain from it is after you hit an enemy, you can pull side to side or just push them back, and then there's a chance that they go prone.
And then I'm thinking Battle Beast. You no longer have any penalty to this, but then in doing this, you actually confer damage from them to another foe. So you're able to slam them into another opponent or something like that.
I was thinking with those naturally, you would kind of be able to like slide them into another guy and disrupt.
Yeah, but you're
them or
not
something.
causing damage.
Oh yeah, that would
This,
just
you're
be
causing
like
damage.
okay, this would actually deal. Okay.
Yeah, so
Alright.
you're doing,
Get over yourself.
And then what if we
Didn't even
increased
wash
it to
your
like maybe
hands.
20 feet or something with Battle Beast?
Nasty.
all day.
so you're able to throw them further,
Yeah.
and
Any enemies you hit,
not
Like-
any enemy, but,
or well, like
maybe confer. Hold on a second.
I would say the next 2.
I think make them within like 2 size classes, like
so-
under 2 sizes bigger than you. Baylock is not going to be manhandling someone 20 feet tall.
If Baylock was
Yes.
built to, he could.
Like that's just not going to happen.
I mean, if that was his game plan, he could. Because you guys were talking about Cannon, who's just like a gnome who throws cannonballs.
Anyone can throw a ball really fast.
Check that, please.
You would get your own cereal. Dude.
That's cereal? Oh, I
Dry
thought you just
cereal.
straight up got like mac and cheese. My bad.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing mac and cheese with my fingers.
You just scooped it out of his whole bowl. Yeah, it was good.
No, but like there are normal humans who can throw fastballs at like 110 miles per hour.
I mean, yeah, but like that's a gnome who a cannonball is probably the size of him roughly.
The
And
size of him, no. Cannonballs are like
okay,
it's like a water polo ball.
okay, he
Yeah,
would be
We throw those at
Cannonballs.
like 70
he would
miles an
be
hour every day.
slightly larger
I
than the
throw those, you
cannonball,
don't.
and you're expecting him to throw them very fast, I assume. At the speed of a cannon,
Faster. But yeah.
faster than a
pretty much,
cannon.
pretty much.
So
Yeah, but we also have normal sized people picking up boulders.
Yeah, this does.
So I
the
feel like
game
that's
doesn't
not
make
very
sense.
realistic. But I feel like
So if the game doesn't make sense, it
Hold
should
on.
be totally able
but I feel like
for
there's
somebody who's smaller to manipulate.
I feel like there's a limit to how absurd things can get. Because, like, there's a difference between someone lifting a rock, like, as tall as this.
I mean,
Right.
maybe it doesn't have to be
And-
flavored as though you're manhandling them. Maybe it's like, you know,
You are,
you're
though.
angling your knife so
Well,
that way it's under their foot and they
what I
step
was-
the other way.
What I was thinking is that it's not necessarily you manhandling them. I'm thinking it's you using their momentum against them. You know what I'm saying? And
So you're, yeah,
so
it
you're-
would be
you're-
more martial.
you're understanding their movements, and so you're using that against them.
But you could flavor
know.
it as though you're manhandling them.
So think
But
like
use what
Aikido,
Nick Harlan would do.
like Aikido, you know. So you're able to manipulate a stronger, heavier opponent
Mhm.
using
But even
that.
still,
Couldn't
someone
Nick
who's
Harlan
like
do it?
60
Like
feet
she's-
tall.
But yeah, you
Right.
wouldn't be able to do like something that's 2 size categories differential.
Like, I think
2 or 3.
I think even 2 is good.
I would
'cause,
say
like,
3.
2 I think would be fine. I think 3 would be the cutoff. I think after
What if
after
Battle
2
Beast?
is no
What if
more.
Battle Beast takes it from 2 to 3?
Mika was thinking that Battle B should add to your APR.
As like a side thing on top of being able to throw people into people?
Well, I was thinking that that was before we started talking about this part. I'm thinking that instead, like, if we just have it like using their own momentum, you can hurl them like up to 20 feet in a direction and causing them to do D10 damage to any 2 foes that they hit.
Mhm.
How's that sound?
I'd be fine with that. I would have liked to relate it more to the damage that is being dealt to them on successful attack, but I see what you're saying.
Well, no, they're already getting damage.
Yeah.
You're dealing damage to them from their body hitting somebody else.
Yeah, but
This is
like we have
extra.
calculations for like falling and stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's every 10 feet, and they're not falling 10 feet.
Well, what if you just do it for like the falling 10 feet calculation?
Well, why?
This
They're
is
not falling 10
simpler
feet.
because it's just saying,
Yeah, they take an extra.
you
Okay,
know,
I
because
see
I don't want
the
them to
extra
have to
detail.
look up, you know, oh, it's,
Yeah, I got
you
you.
know.
Well, I mean, if they're a good LM, they'll have an LM.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could
board,
you could
which
also
shows it right
include
there.
it in the proficiency itself, like the numbers. But
Well,
I see
no,
what you're saying.
because it's based on your size. And so it's not just a standard. Different creatures
Yep.
have different falling
Yep.
damages.
I got you. Then in that case,
Yeah,
the
that
D10
would
be
change.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
we can't have 20 different things right in this line here.
That's
Then
fine. I can turn into a squirrel.
Yep. Then D10 works.
Okay, so Battle Nudge, Battle Bully, Battle Beast under the grappler line.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then Battle Beast would take it one size class up. So from
No,
2 to 3.
no,
No?
no,
What?
no. You're not going to be a human tossing a Titan.
Well, I mean, okay. What is okay?
But
So
I feel like that's just too big. Cause like the minimum. Hold on.
okay. I guess a Titan is like 60 feet.
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah,
The
then I
minimum
guessed.
for, let's say, your average size. Okay?
I mean, wait. Okay.
Bringing it up 3 would go from maximum of 8 foot to minimum of 26 foot. So you're throwing around someone over 4 times your height. That's not happening.
And that's the minimum.
That's minimum.
You know.
Maximum of 34, 35.
Yeah.
So
You don't think a midget could get a takedown on Shaquille O'Neal?
no,
Okay.
A little person.
no. I think that Shaq would punt them.
Okay, so
Shaq would dunk them.
forced opening.
Oh, I thought you said he would punt them.
Yeah,
He did.
in that order. Punt them off the backboard, catch it, dunk them in.
All right. So grab an opponent for force. We have disarm. So what does disarm do?
Disarm.
Like
I'm
Disarm.
touch attack versus impulse.
Is disarm not already a thing?
No.
That's just disarm trap.
disarm
okay.
trap. Yeah, no.
Disarm weapon. I'll put in here.
Yep, that would make sense. I would say upon successfully doing it, you knock the opponent's weapon 15 feet away or so.
Okay. All right, and then like if we do this like disarm weapon 2, you get better at it, and then you can directionalize it.
Oh,
And then you
so
can
you
use
could
that as a
not.
weapon.
So you could throw.
Throw it into somebody else.
That would be sick.
Turn that to a
Also,
ranged attack.
we should specify if you're disabling somebody, you can only disable one of their weapons. So if they have 4 hands, you're disabling 1 hand. So they may have 4 Kopeshes, you knock 1, they still have 3.
I have 76 arms. Have fun.
But if they're using like a 2-handed spear or something, that would be just so that way there's no confusion on the LM's part.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of disarm 2. Disarm weapon 2.
Bro, imagine you did that, and someone missile defense 2'd that back
Then
at you.
you
And
missile
then
defense
you
two.
missile defense 2 that back at them.
Yeah, that would be a pretty EverLore
That'd be the
thing.
best possible sequence.
I can't wait until EverLore blows up and that's like a clip of something that happens on Twitch.
I can't wait to see that on YouTube. Just like a YouTube short of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be pretty fun. I forgot. Justin and Jackson don't even know like anything about building characters either. Oh, that's crazy.
All right, so
They don't know how fun it is to like get like 20 EP from a session and then just look at all the. It's like staring at a candy shop.
oh, that's right.
There's so much you can do with it, but so little you can do with
So-
it.
So we talked about the spell sundered line, the grappler line. Okay. And you have to grow a weapon.
Yeah. I was kind of salty about it at first, but I feel like the Forsaken or the Sunder line, I feel like it encourages fighters who haven't used it to use spells. So that way you're getting the most out of your character. Whether you're forsaking spells or you're a fighter who uses spells, it kind of encourages you to make the most out of your character one way or another.
You know, my thought about it was just like, some people just inevitably aren't going to use spells. Like, some people are just going to build characters and not use spells. So why not make it like a thing to where they can't use spells, but they can be better at something else?
Yeah.
All right.
The card one is definitely going to keep it.
So with the spear, I was thinking like calling like spear hand, and so maybe giving you you'd already have to have a weapon familiarity spear,
Mm-hmm.
and then threaten people within 20-foot radius. That just doesn't seem enough.
What?
It seems like it should be a little bit beefier. Okay.
What, the spear?
I mean, you could include a +1 to hit and damage just like within the 10 to 20 foot radius. That would give it a little bit more beef because you already have a proficiency put into those things.
Yeah, but then I don't want that to be too complicated for them to remember. Oh, well, you get +1 at this point, but then if I'm hitting you out there, it's not +1 and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll figure it out. Okay. Oh, look at the time. All right,
Oh?
it is 8:51.
Oh, we got a dang.
Questions.
Questions? Yes. So, what happened to Vandra and Nicaragua tonight?
Oh man,
Yes.
craziest thing.
We all
Nicaragua,
put
there
up
was
a 9.
Oh, is that right?
How?
Yeah.
She was tired of them.
Because that's the thing that does not exist in EverLore.
go ahead, roll a hit on that.
Right.
77,000
Didn't hit.
squared.
All right. Okay, Cam Film, as you guys are hopefully well aware, we did not have our usual stream tonight.
Yeah.
We were able to get some concepting going. Thanks for all the fans who were able to join us and gave us some good input. We appreciate that. Guys, you can learn more information about EverLore by checking us out on social media at EverLoreGame. You can check out our weekly streams, EverLoreGame, that airs every Thursday night from 6:50 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's at twitch.tv/EverLoreGame. We also have a second stream, which is Essence of EverLore, that airs every Monday from 6:45 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's at twitch.tv/Essence of EverLore. You can also find out more information about us at ManChildLTD.com. There you will be able to find information about our core books. You will see swag like t-shirts and other things like that. Guys, did I miss anything? Nope.
Don't believe you did.
All right,
Although we
all right.
stream at twitch.tv/EverLoreGame
That
if you're
is
watching
correct.
us on YouTube.
Yes. And I will do a roll for tonight.
Roll percentage dot. It didn't give us that cubed.
Yeah. Not
You really like this whole exponents thing.
going to happen. I'm going to roll a d6.
Oh, I have to look at
All right. So I am going to roll it. And we get 5 EP for tonight.
Wow!
Nice, nice. So Cam Fam, thanks. And that's also for all of the people who are watching.
Mhm.
You guys get the 5 EP as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for the input.
Thanks for coming out.
And guys, look, if you are interested in a game with lots of diversity and customization that is not limited by classes or levels, then this game is for you. Peace out,
Peace
Cam
out,
Fam.
Cam Fam.
So usually I have this a little bit quicker. All right, stop the stream.
Usually you emphasize the. This is